Well, good morning, Ladon. Good morning, Bahamas. It's a beautiful start to your Tuesday morning. As you can see from our drone cam, we are this morning in the urban area of Bain and Grand Sound. This morning, we're giving you your initial traffic report from the intersection of MEADOW and Nassau Street. We're seeing several commuters on the road already making their way to work, as well as several pedestrians as well, nice and safe, walking to their various destinations. This morning, we're joined by Sergeant Cressenia Johnson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, who's giving you your initial look at overnight traffic. Good morning, Officer Johnson.
A pleasant good morning to you, and a pleasant good morning, Bahamas. We're coming from the overnight. We have had 20 accidents involving damages, 9 accidents involving minor injuries, and 3 accidents involving hit and runs. So we've just received information regarding a 14-year-old that was struck in this area next to Meaton Street and Augusta Street. And we have another pedestrian that was struck in the Prince Charles area near the Commonwealth Bank vicinity. So we just want to advise the general public and just getting into the whole idea of moving into your traffic, traversing the streets and doing whatever it is that we have a duty of care. You owe both pedestrians and motorists. You owe a duty of care to each other.
Now, as we've talked about it before, when we talk about commuting on the street, it's almost like a marriage, you know, a 3-part really. You have the pedestrians, you have the drivers, but you also have the government that communicates to both of those parties with signs and street lights. We see right behind me all the street lights are properly working, indicating to motorists. Any advice that you can offer to pedestrians and drivers as they make their way around the islands?
Yes, but remember, like you talk about this marriage, remember now, all of these things work in with each other. Each one has an important role to play. So things are in place as, for example, the pedestrian crossings or the crossing where you press the traffic control light and allows pedestrians to cross the street. Anything along that line, you want to be able to get onto those pedestrians and utilize them as much as possible. And motorists, if you're traveling in areas where you know there's going to be a high volume of pedestrian traffic, so please slow down and pay attention to what's going on in that area. We want to avoid any of these incidents that could be, anything that could be avoided, we want to avoid those matters.
And of course, this morning, later in our newscast, we should have a report coming in to you about home security and care. Johnson, any advice for motorists? You know, many people leave their homes very early in the morning and late at night. While home security is one aspect, personal care is another one.
Yes, and as you talk about this brings into mind the whole idea of looking out for one another, like we just talked about. I remember one time ago we had the neighbor who you can phone and say, hey, I'm going to reach in late, or I'm head out early, just keep an eye out and make sure that I'm safe. Now we have electronic devices that we can put into use. We have security footage, all these different things that we can put into use, even a dog. We can have that dog there to say, oh, he's going to make that bark when we're coming out early or leaving out late or whatever it is. So you just want to increase security. You have to take care of yourself. You're going to have to put these mechanisms in place to ensure your security.
And finally, even for myself, when I leave early, I also, too, try to be very cautious. My shoes are actually a little loud, so I try to tippy-toe out to the car. And for me, that's a minimal indication to anyone else out there. And I'm also very cautious, very observant to anything around me. Some good advice there for persons?
Yes, because even, for example, maybe with you wearing the loud clothing or even utilizing your cell phone and calling somebody so they can hear if something is going on, at least you know that someone is there to vouch for you or somebody is watching to be able to say, okay, hey, this person has taken some initiative to say, okay, I'm safe and I'm headed out, or I'm going to do whatever it is I have to do. So things like this, you want to put into place. Things just use common sense, just a bit of common sense, and protect yourself. That's it.
All right. So, of course, more on this story and this idea of self-protection and home care. But, of course, giving you your initial look at traffic. And it's a great Tuesday morning. A bit chilly, so take your jackets and coats with you. LaDawn, back to you in studio.